Hi, my name is Maggie Ramage. I'm a partner at Ebb&Co in the Intellectual Property Department, and I look after trademark matters such as defence and registration and clearance and strategy. A point often raised in recessionary times is why register your mark? Why bother with the expense? What are the disadvantages and advantages? It is a false economy to ignore trademark protection and can prove really expensive later on if action to protect a trademark is not taken. A strong brand may be a company's most valuable asset. It can be valued on the balance sheets, it can have a value as it epitomises goodwill and the reputation built up under that mark, and may be bought, sold, and used as security for raising capital. Equally, a trademark may suffer damage in a short time if the goods or services provided under that mark fail for some reason. Consumers then tend to avoid that brand, and the value of that brand may suffer, even to the point of no return to a good reputation. Consumers equate reputation via brands. I think that is an important point. All businesses have brands, whether they believe they do or not. Their trademark is often the first thing that a potential customer will see and needs protection. In a large number of countries, such as the EU, it is the first to register who has the strongest rights, although you can build up rights via use. In some countries, it's only possible to challenge a domain name if the main part of the domain name is registered as a trademark. If involved in conflict, whether challenging someone else or being challenged by someone using a similar mark to you, having a registration proves your entitlement to the mark, and it shifts to the other side to prove their position. So if you don't have a registration, you do have to prove your own rights first, which can be costly, time-consuming, and uncertain as to outcome. It is certainly an important point to consider that your trademark ownership goes into public domain. It can be found by anyone and acts as a deterrent or a keep-off-the-grass sign, if you will, to others looking to coin a similar mark for similar goods or services to yours. There are various points to consider when registering, but I would say the main one at the beginning is the mark ready to file, or will the logo or wording change before launch? You cannot change a mark once filed, and the golden rule is use as registered and register your mark as you propose to use it. There are different forms of trademark. Marks may be words, slogans, logos, moving marks, smells, sounds, and 3D shapes. For searching, if your mark is new and unused, it is wise to search first for availability. You really do not want to pour resources into a launch which could fail as you have inadvertently come up with a mark too close to that of someone else's protected mark. Trademark infringement proceedings are expensive. You really do not want the expense of having to rebrand at an early stage for this reason. If colour is relevant in your mark, include that. Goods and services, these need to be checked. Are there imminent plans to add new products or services under your mark? If so, do include them early on, but be aware that in many countries, such as the US and the UK, there is an assumption of intent to use your mark on all the services and goods you claim when you file, so please do not be over-ambitious and include everything from washing up liquid to handguns if you really do not propose to use those goods. You could invalidate your whole registration, especially in the USA, and lose it if challenged based upon non-use. Be aware, in some countries, such as the US, claiming use on goods or services where the mark is not used can constitute fraud on the local patent office. Change of house mark. This is something that most people forget. Should you change your house mark, update the version on file. It is very easy to forget this. Large companies continually upgrade or refresh their house marks, but they do forget to update their trademark protection at the same time. You could successfully be challenged on non-use and lose the whole lot. You could find that older versions of your house mark on file are just not enough to save a newer, upgraded version which has not been applied for. New markets. Continually consider these. File in the countries where you do have activity, but watch for things like internet sales. You may find that you do not have a retail outlet in a given territory, but may have internet customers there already who order online from another country. If so, it is imperative that you file first before someone else does it for you in that country. This is really important in some countries such as China. Consider new product areas, for example, social media sites, blogs, chat rooms, phone apps. If these are important to you, protect those areas as well. Next consideration is where to file. Consider your main markets and any planned in the future. File in all those countries. This does include countries where you have a licensee or a distributor. If you manufacture in a country, consider protection there. Copycat territories are most definitely worth consideration. Do consider protection there because copycats are really active in some territories now. This is worth doing in areas such as China, Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, Brazil, India and Pakistan. It is economically sensible to spend a reasonable fee on protecting your mark in such countries rather than the considerably higher cost of court proceedings to stop others. And in litigation, it is not always easy to succeed if your own mark is not registered in some of those countries. How to file your mark? There are different methods of filing which we would advise on. You can do this via national filings per country or via the Madrid Protocol method, which bundles countries together for protection in a single registration, which could be cheaper upon renewal of your rights later on. If you're active in the EU, consider filing in the EU system rather than individual national countries in Europe. 3D registrations and logos is something else to consider. If you have a word and logo, consider filing separately, as often the logo becomes as well known, if not more, than the word. And by way of example here, think of Apple. There's the word, there's also the Apple logo, which is now very well known and interchangeably used, and the Nike swoosh. The swoosh now appears on their shops rather than their name. Convention priority, this is something again we would advise on. You can file in your home country first, and then you have 6 months to file elsewhere but claim your earlier home application date. Now this can be really invaluable to stop competitors who may copy your successful launched mark, but also it spreads the budget. You can file at home now and consider where else to file within 6 months, and that buys you time to see how your launch is going and to formulate your plans before you incur the cost of filing. Watching services is something we provide. You can subscribe to watching services to check for marks filed and published by others, which may be the earliest time you become aware of such marks and can challenge them before they are registered. Downsides. These are few and far between. Your ownership is public on government registers, so may be the subject of spurious touting mail, trying to sell you expensive services such as entries into unofficial databases, filing and renewal services, and watching services. However, once you are aware of these services, you can ignore them. Therefore, it's not really a disadvantage, I think, apart from the aggravation factor. On balance, having a strong trademark registration portfolio can be one of the most worthwhile projects you can undertake. Finally, use the services of a trademark attorney to help advise on cost, strategy, priority of filings, where to file, what goods and services to cover, when to file, which marks to protect, and also to deal with any objections which may be raised by local registries along the way. Edwin Co offer all of the services I have just discussed. We have an extensive network of associates around the world, and I deal with a large number of those on a daily basis. We can help with searching, watching, protection, litigation, domain issues, copyright issues, designs, and all areas of intellectual property. We have a strong team of advisors here, and these can help with all of the issues. We can also provide all the services around the world. You will not regret it if you have a strong trademark portfolio which is properly registered. Surveys have shown that the companies which protect their IP rights tend to be the most successful.